Start the hearing for progress and development.
Yeah, this is what I'm hearing, what we're hearing today from.
Oh, I got what we're hearing today.
Senator Washington,
Here,
Senator Lewis,
Present.
Senator Moon, Senator Nicola.
So, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We're in executive session. I'm going to move that we bring Senate Bill 205 before the committee. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Bill for the committee. So this is
These
Senator
are the points.
Washington's bill. I believe that's related to a tax credit for providing housing for victims of domestic violence.
Correct.
With respect to Senator Lewis being a new member of the committee, welcome.
Thank you.
We'll give you a few minutes to work through the bill if you like. But if you have any questions, you can just go from there.
I'm good.
Senator Washington, if you wanted to add anything that provides clarity.
I gave her my notes, actually.
Yeah,
I'm good. Mhm.
Cool. Well, I do move that we pass Senate Bill 205. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, no discussion. Do roll call.
Senator Williams,
Aye.
Senator Washington,
aye.
Senator Lewis,
Aye.
Senator Moon, Senator Nicola.
Okay, 3-0. We voted to pass on Senate Bill 205. And also, I'd like to have a motion, second bill, Senate Bill 20. I have a motion. Second.
So moved.
Second.
Any opposed?
Could you just, remind us?
Senate Bill 20.
Oh, it's for a fund.
So I believe that Senate Bill 20 will come before the committee. I believe that is, that's my bill,
Yeah, it's
basically
because-
related to a sales tax for early childhood educational services. So what it'll do is it'll pretty much put on the ballot for voters to determine whether or not they want to approve a tax in St. Louis County, to determine if they want to raise funds through that tax to go to the early childhood education fund, which would be the Children's Services Fund in St. Louis County. So if the voters approve it, then it would move forward to St. Louis County. If they don't, then move on. So my perspective with it was to give voters an opportunity to determine if they want to prioritize early childhood education. And hopefully we'll be able to get that across the finish line and hopefully provide some services through the county for families that need it the most. So, with that, I move that we do pass Senate Bill 20. Do I have a second?
Second,
All right. Secretary, call the roll, please.
Senator Williams,
Aye.
Senator Washington,
aye.
Senator Lewis,
Aye.
Senator Moon, Senator Nicola.
Like voted 3-0. We have voted to pass on Senate Bill 20. After that, I will ask that the committee move out of executive session.
So moved.
Aye. Out of executive session. So, do we have any bills we're hearing today?
Yes.
Okay. So we have Fitzwater, Senator Fitzwater, Senate Bill 348.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Travis Fitzwater, Senate District 10. This is the, this bill, Senate Bill have Senate Bill 1512 from last year, I think. It's Senate Bill 348. Is important to my district because Celia Newsom, who was forced to have that last name, she was a slave in the 1800s in Callaway County and was hanged because she killed her quote-unquote husband in self-defense as he continued to force himself on her. And she set out a plan to stop that from happening, killed him, and she was put on trial and was convicted and hanged in Fulton. Really, there's a lot to it. The Governor Parson, one of his last pardons when he left office was to posthumously pardon Celia, which was, I thought, a really powerful moment. As Governor Parson left, they actually, I think, Senator, Mr. Chairman, you and I kind of leaned on his office because they didn't think they could do posthumous pardons, and we said, we think, what do you lose by doing this? And so I think that was a great moment for us to partner together and do something that was impactful because her family is still around. The Newsom family, it's really interesting. The family that comes from him are still very much involved in the community in Fulton, and her family has dispersed across Missouri, and they're in St. Louis. The ones that are really passionate about this particular bill. But what this bill does, I'll get to that. That's the backstory. It would create a Celia Day, so we're remembering our history around slavery and what it has meant to our society. And so we'd have a Celia Day to observe age-appropriate instruction regarding Celia and her story. There'd be a Human Trafficking Awareness Week, which I think is important, not just for Celia, but as an issue that is prevalent today, to really raise awareness for human trafficking. And then there'd be the Celia Memorial Highway, which we almost got passed last year, but in the wake of all of the inability of the Senate to get along on some things, the naming bill didn't get passed, but it was kind of on the 1 yard line about to be done. The naming bill that we had that on fell through the end of session. So this would also name a portion of Highway 54 around where she lived after Celia, the Celia Memorial Highway. So that's the bill.
Yeah. Any questions for the Senator Fitzwater? Okay, I do have more of a statement, but I also want to thank you for leading on this. Just for the clarity with the committee, there was a constituent of mine by the name of Pamela Westbrooks Hodge, a sorority sister of Senator Washington as well, Alpha Kappa Alpha. And she found out that she was related to the Newsom family through a, what do you call them? Kind of DNA, hereditary.
Ancestors.com.
Ancestry.com. She found out that she was related and had relatives in Callaway County, and they were white. And she had a picture of Celia on her wall in her house, ironically, and found out that was her distant grandmother. And she started the process from there to find her relatives, which brought Senator Fitzwater and I together on this because there were constituents of his in Callaway County that she found out were relatives, and they both started an effort once she retired to not only get a pardon for Celia, but also start a foundation in her honor to honor their family and her legacy. Mr. Newsom was not just her husband, he was also her slave master. And it's amazing to see how that family has come together of so many diverse backgrounds and just advocate for Celia's legacy, and they've made so much progress in a very short period of time. But the family went to Senator Fitzwater and asked him to support their efforts, and this is exactly what he's doing among many efforts, whether it's through the pardon process, taking time to visit with the family, as well as Ms. Westbrooks Hodge. So I just want to personally thank you for everything that you've done, because you kind of got bombarded with it with your first year in the Senate, and it was a heavier lift than both of us expected it to be.
Everything was really, and it's unfortunate that something like this that has pretty broad support would lose steam in the midst of all that. But we'll keep keep working at it. And I think there's a clear path this year to get something done in this
Yeah,
space.
so thank you for that. I appreciate your leadership on this.
Thanks for partnering with me.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses? Or did I serve as your
I
witness?
don't know.
Kind of?
You may have been my witness.
Okay. So no witnesses, but I stand strongly in support of this bill and look forward to helping the best I can through the process.
Thank you, Senator.
Yes, Senator Washington.
Senator, thank you for bringing this. I have a lot of nuisance in my district, but also, did you intend for this to go consent?
I would love for it to go to consent.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd request it. Since I've been in the Senate, consent hasn't been a thing. So, would love to bring that back and consider it for sure.
We'll definitely make sure the bill is considered consent. I'm sure.
And I don't know. I didn't invite people to come testify. By the way, there may be somebody here to testify. So
No, well, I'm very familiar with it, and I'm confident we can reach out to the family, and they'll be more than happy to provide support letters to the committee if need be. Okay. Any other questions for the bill sponsor? Okay. With that will conclude the hearing on Senate Bill 348. Okay. Next bill would be Senate Bill 433 with Senator Washington. Four thirty-three.
No, 303. It's 303. It was 433 last year, I think.
My apologies. That's Senate Bill 303.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Yep. Senator, start whenever you like.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. As you know, I'm Senator Barbara Ann Washington, and I am the 9th Senatorial District Senator in Kansas City and Jackson County, and home to the famous Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. The Negro Leagues Baseball League was established in February 20th, and I think this is our 103rd year. This bill today is just a naming bill to pay tribute to John Donaldson, who's one of the most powerful pitchers and players in the history of the Negro Leagues. He did play for 25 different teams. He's in our Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. He is from Glasgow, Missouri, in Howard County, which is very close to Saline County, where my family is from. I've been to Glasgow a million times. And the city has already honored him by naming a baseball field after him. And he is the first African-American scout to be in Major League Baseball. In 1949, he was hired by the Chicago White Sox. And so for many people, they are familiar with who Satchel Paige is. And Mr. Donaldson's about 20 years prior to Satchel Paige. And there's a real belief that Satchel Paige picked up his style from Mr. Donaldson. We believe that this bill would not only continue to honor the Negro Leagues and its impact on society, in addition to on the field, but also honor someone who was always committed to baseball and using that as a learning tool. And finally, would be helpful in helping him finally get into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. He has made ballot twice. The last year, he only had 5 votes, and I think the year before he may have had 8. He needs 12 votes. So we want to try to get him to getting his 12 votes because he is an outstanding player and someone who was committed to our community and helping uplift the sport of baseball. With that, I'll take any questions. Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to designate his birthday as John Donaldson Day, February 20th.
Okay.
Probably should have said that part.
Any questions for Senator Washington? Do you have any witnesses in attendance?
I do.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, thank you, Senator Washington, for bringing this bill before the committee. My name is Benny Lewis. I'm a lobbyist, and I represent the Negro League Baseball Museum. I am not an expert on everything about the Negro Leagues, but I do know some things. The expert will be here tomorrow, Bob Kendrick. So if I leave out anything, just catch us in the halls. John Donaldson, as the senator alluded to, he was probably the best pitcher that no one ever knew. And the only thing that kept him out of the major leagues was this, his skin color. He threw a pitch, it's called a slider. It goes straight to the base and then drops. He threw the slider before anybody knew what the slider was. He was a left-hander. He was born in 1892. That's long before any of us were born. And he died in 1970. And so he played for many, many teams in the Midwest, the Northeast, and the West. He was called a barnstormer, which means that he plays for whoever pays him. One season he's with one team, another season he's with another. And he was on the original Kansas City Monarchs team that started in 1920. Yes, he did took in a young pitcher by the name of Satchel Paige. And he showed Satchel was struggling. This is a story. Satchel was struggling because he had an injury, but John showed him how to pitch through the injury, and we know now that Satchel is one of the greatest pitchers that ever played baseball. The city of Glasgow, I've been there a couple of times, and they have a baseball field, and they have a nice statue of John, and they just recognize a great Missourian. John was educated in Sedalia, Missouri. He got a college degree. And now we just need to do something at the state level to make sure that John gets the recognition when he comes up again for the Baseball Hall of Fame, that he gets in this time. Thank you.
Any questions for the witness? Senator Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for being here. I really appreciated you sharing about this Mr. Donaldson. I learned a lot, so thank you.
You're welcome. I have a question.
Yes.
How is this bill relevant to St. Louis, where I'm from?
Well, Senator, if I elaborate on that, it'd be second or third hand information. But I think you have some direct knowledge about that. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I mean, I do, and first, I'm very grateful for this bill, and just with the Negro League, and I followed a lot of great players, and as a Cardinals fan, followed a lot of great players. I even think about, players all the way from, guys that made it to the majors, Willie Mays and Ozzie Smith and Lou Brock, which I'm good friends with his son. So it's a lot of really good connections with the Negro League and Kansas City. And I said I would tease Senator Washington because, she's the true historian. She always dropping some history on somebody about different sports. I don't know how many people, everybody in here probably knows, but, she has a sports journalism background. So, I think this is a tremendous bill, and I actually had an opportunity to read up on Mr. Donaldson, and then I started researching him again when I saw you in the hallway, and I said, it was amazing that he went that long and played for that many teams and no one knew anything about him. I mean, it was pretty fascinating, but it also kind of lets us know that we need to really highlight this type of history because I think it's so many other players that have went under the radar that need to be recognized, and I hope that this sets precedent for us being able to tell these type of stories. And I can't wait to see Bob tomorrow in the hallways.
All right.
And I just want to add, you asked how was it related. Mr. Donaldson is one of the founding members of the Kansas City Monarchs. And without the Kansas City Monarchs, there'd be no Negro Leagues. Without the Negro Leagues, there'd be no Jackie Robinson, and baseball wouldn't be as great as it is. Interestingly enough, Mr. Donaldson was a very light-skinned person and was asked to move to Cuba and change his name in order for him to break into Major League Baseball. But he would have to forgo ever speaking to his family again
That's right.
and ignore the fact that he was African-American. And he chose to stay African-American, and that is what prevented him from being in Major League Baseball during his younger years when he actually would have been a great pitcher.
And we would have knew even more about it had he decided to abandon his roots. Thank you.
And also, Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
make sure you submit a witness form. Okay, got it. Thank you. Any other witnesses in support of Senate Bill 303? Anyone in opposition? Okay, well, that will conclude our hearing. Did you have any last remarks you would like to make, Senator Washington?
No, let's just pass it out.
All right, thank you. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 303, and I think everything we'll be hearing today for committee hearing of Senate Progress and Development. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we have a second, and we will adjourn.